Do you guys think prostitution should be legal?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think it should be legal and federally regulated. I think that we'll have a lot of good entrepreneurs who'll step up to the plate and fill the void that'll be left by the disgusting pimps that are currently, right now it's just there's a cycle of abuse there, right? And there's a lot of hesitancy to like put your to dip your toes in the world of prostitution if you're the government, I think. But
Yeah.
man, it works in Nevada, right? You see like
Oh, yeah.
so much less PD, so much less like death, abuse, violence, suicide rates, and all that stuff. And drug use, everything that correspond, all the other negatives that sort of usually go hand in hand with that vice, they're diminished considerably when you regulate and legalize.
Is it legal in Nevada?
Inside, all right. So it's like outside of Las Vegas, I think it's legal.
Interesting.
That's my understanding because
I
my
know they have the
understanding is
bunny
like
ranch.
if you get that's outside Vegas, that's out in the
Okay.
desert. So my understanding is that if you get a prostitute off the strip, that is prostitution, and if they want to make a deal of it, Vice will come lock your ass up. I bet it's not a big deal there because it's so common. I bet it's about like a DUI, a light DUI, I'll call it, guessing. But you can go right outside and at the city to a whorehouse it's 100% legal where I think I saw an HBO like documentary in one of those places. I've never been to one, but you go in and they pick a lady to fuck and go fuck her.
There was an HBO reality series about it. I've seen a bunch of episodes, and
The Bunny Ranch, right? Something like that.
Yeah. I may have watched the same documentary. It came on probably about 1 a.m. on HBO, Moonlight Bunny Ranch.
Just beating off.
I got to make the most of this. We've only got it free for 7 days around the holidays
Hey, man.
every year.
It was dark
the
times before
Vaseline
the
out.
internet, okay? All of you guys are old enough to remember when it was whatever was on cable.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys had HBO? I'm watching it through the squigglies, trying to make out boobies.
Yeah.
Not the squigglies.
When he's propping up his dad's pornos and shining a bright light on one side to project a woman onto his wall. If I wiggle the pages, she moves.
It's like she's
Like
dancing.
she's really here.
Yeah, dance, you dirty whore.
Dance, you fucking slut. You're sitting
I'll
in your
tear you
house.
right out of that book, you bitch, just like I did Sandra.
Kyle's dirty talk is on point. I like it.
That's
I'll
so.
tear you out of that book, you bitch.
Imagine it
What are
being
you doing
even
in your
worse.
treehouse?
Imagine it being like the 30s and you have to go to the bad part of town to go to like the grimy porno theater, and the porn that's there is just whatever of the two tapes reels that they had in town, and you got the guy cranking it and 6 other dudes sitting beside you watching this old
That
porn.
would be if that were the only way to consume it in the 70s, I'm not surprised a lot of people just steered clear, because sitting next to a bunch of the kind of people who would masturbate next to other men in public has got to be just a ghoulish experience. Like
I wonder what
it's got to be satanic in those rooms.
Is it just all men sitting in what to me is like a 1990s movie theater next to each other? Is that
I think
like
so. I only know about
99.9% men. There'd be very few female clients.
Yeah, I would be
Right?
surprised if any. That's going into the rapist's den potentially.
I mean,
Like,
maybe if you're running like lesbian fetish porn in the 70s, but even still, that'd probably be mostly men.
yeah,
you'd think
Yeah,
there'd
like
be
pretty much
women working there? Like it's a target rich environment.
yeah, maybe
Where
I
do
don't
I
know.
find horny men?
everywhere in the sticky
okay.
section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, imagine being the janitor that has to clean that up.
I would imagine that has got to be the highest paid job at the establishment.
was
Is
thinking,
no
the
way.
cum scrubber.
You
Or
don't think so?
Ex-con, maybe.
No, I think they just get an ex-con who just has to keep a job to stay out of jail, and they pay him absolute crap to scrub up all the cum off of everything.
He couldn't hack it at Denny's as a line cook, and so now he's scrubbing cum in the adult theater. What a life! What a life we just made up. How sad. Yeah. No, would you guys feel comfortable doing that if you were like, man, I want to jack off, but it's 1971 and I really don't want to get in my car and drive to this place where everybody knows, like, hey, that's Ted, beating off Ted, and it's like, yeah. Like, no,
I
couldn't do it.
I bet it was
like,
super stigma. Yeah.
prior to VHS and Betamax. Like, I guess there really wasn't much porn you could watch at home.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, like
There would have been some like little reels maybe, but that would have been
Sure.
rare,
Yeah.
rare.
And you gotta like set up a projector and a screen and shit. Like,
Yeah,
that's
you got to
a
clear the
thing.
whole family out of the living room to set up the projector.
All right, everyone, it's time for you to get ice cream.
Time for the
Give me-
kids to go to get. Mom and dad are putting on a show. Yeah, it's funny. We talk all the time about like, you kids didn't understand before the internet. Porn was rough. We had to watch Cinemax. Shit. People could say that to us and be like, you didn't understand before VHS. We had to use magazines.
Yeah.
And it could
And
even be illegal in certain places. Like people were getting arrested at gay bars basically for being gay into the 60s and late 50s at least. And pornography was, and the obscenity laws and freedom of speech were not quite what they were today. You could get arrested for obscenity, or Pee Wee Herman got busted for public exposure. It was not as legal as what we deal with now.
That was a false flag. He wasn't beating off in there. Thank you, Kyle. I thought
Whatever.
that was a decent from
with
I
Pee-wee.
loved that movie so much. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So
I
fun.
didn't know about I didn't know there was a movie as a kid. I'd seen the show though. I grew up with the show. Pee Wee's
watched some of
Playhouse.
that.
Yeah, it was
Time for the mail again, and then like that thing comes in the window, the mail. It was like a really disjointed and jarring Blue's Clues, like
Yeah,
where
he
there
got a
wasn't
bad
really
rap.
a plot. He
got a bad rap because parents couldn't explain to kids my age that he was jerking off, so they kind of made it sound like he was a pedophile or something.
Yeah.
Yep. So my parents told me.
And so that kind of stuck, and it was like, dude was just jerking off, right? Like minding his own business in his seat that plenty of other dudes had jerked off in, I'm sure. And like that's what he got busted for. And it was a
How do
time
you even get
before-
arrested for that? What cop
There was
is
a
like, you
cop
know
there.
what?
That's what he
There's
was
a cop
doing that
behind
night.
He was taking
I'm sure it was a cop whose job that night was to sit in that theater and look for somebody jerking it.
Yeah.
My
it's like-
God, what a
Or they
waste of
targeted
police
Pee Wee. Maybe
resources.
they targeted him specifically. You know, they're like, look, if
Oh.
I'm a cop and I see a celebrity duck into a porno theater, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm this close to busting Pee Wee.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about what an asshole
How
they
dare
were.
you, you little fuck.
Like
Like,
busting
maybe
a
somebody
guy
liked the
for
show.
jerking off in a place where you jerk off is bullshit.
It is bullshit.
You
I-
jerk off with a wink and a nod there, though, because it's not supposed to be like, it's like, yeah, we all know you're doing it. It's like when you got a beer in a brown bag, right? Like,
Yeah.
we know what's going on here, but just keep it on the down low, all right?
Yeah.
Don't go crazy.
But the
It's like
maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the adult theater business model is guys go in there and jerk off. That's
Yeah,
what's
that's the
happening
whole
here.
model.
100%.
Who
Yeah,
was
they're not
the
like taking
victim in
memories.
Pee Wee Herman jerking off? Did other people go in there hoping not to be exposed to sexual acts?
He's the victim.
Hold up. This would have been the mid to late 80s. So I assume it would have been the Nancy Reagan morality push,
90,
gotta
I would guess.
lock
I would
down
guess
all
like-
It
this
was
stuff.
90s.
I would
It's
guess
90s?
90s, because yeah, I was born in 86. So,
Okay.
and I knew about this shit for whatever reason when I was a young man.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, it
Must
was
happen in the
1991. And that's the year I was born, and I knew about this. This was one of those like grade school things that came up that was like, you know, that show Pee Wee with Pee Wee Herman? He molests kids.
what
And
did they
it's
tell you
like,
about AIDS?
I really didn't get much of an education on AIDS other than like it's an STD. Like, and it was like told as like the fucking worst one, like the do not pass go, you will die of this.
At
So,
the time, that was 100% true. They did not have the treatments they have today.
Yeah, it was a
Now
death
that-
sentence.
Magic's whole like campaign on NBC was still very much going on when I was like 5. So I remember being 4 or 5 years old and watching like Magic on TV being like, you know, talking about fucking AIDS
Mhm.
and like growing up knowing that like it could get in your blood and you couldn't get it out and you couldn't stop it from killing you. You were just dead
Yeah.
unless you were Magic, and nobody's that big and strong.
He's
It was
I
like
was
maybe if
in-
you ball out hard enough, you can survive, but probably not. You're white.
Magic Johnson getting AIDS or HIV was almost like a 9/11 sort of you remember where you were when you heard it moment for people my age.
Yeah.
And I was at a away meet for my college swim team when we found out that Magic Johnson had this, and we were all like, "Whoa, he's gonna die!" This guy has like 2 years left. And I can't think of a celebrity today who is the parallel to Magic Johnson back then. He was like the best basketball player. His career was still active. He even came back and played a little bit with AIDS. His career was still active. He was like the champ, and he was so charismatic. Everybody loved Magic Johnson. Like that, they don't feel that way about Joel Embiid or Kyrie Irving or whoever is today's, best player and Jokic. Magic Johnson was popular culture. And damn, it was a big deal. I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, and he spent his life educating, and he's still I mean, he's fine, right? Like,
was he stigmatized for it? I don't remember this as well at the time because
people didn't want to play with him. Yeah. There were people who didn't want to play with him. They didn't want him on the court.
And it was if you got AIDS, you must be gay.
Well, they asked that, but they didn't want him to sweat. Like, you're gonna sweat playing basketball, and no one wanted. Like, they're like, how do I play with a guy who's about to sweat all over me?
Yeah.
And you know what? Like,
people didn't know.
I think it turns out that that's not a real concern. But when in 1993 or whatever it was like, it's not fair. What do you? Like,
it's scary.
Nobody really knew. It was all the stuff I got. I went to public school. The information was wild, conflicting. I had a police officer come to school and say stuff like people with AIDS would try to bite or spit at them, which probably wasn't real.
That's real.
It is. One person told me you could get it from sweat. One person said you didn't. If I went to Bible school, it was only gay people get AIDS. In the early 90s, education on this was like almost nothing.
Even today, I'm like, can you get it from swallowing cum? I think you can't, but it seems like you should.
I think you're going to need an open wound along the way.
Something, because I think the reason that it spreads so much from anal sex is because that creates a lot of fissures and damage to your tissue, and so there's a lot of inroads for it to go in.
I think that's a very absorbent area too. I think much like the inside of your mouth, maybe it's absorbing some nutrients down there. Like sucking up some little AIDS particles. I don't know if do you know about the AIDS molecule? You've seen it right under a microscope.
No.
Y'all gotta call me on this shit. I'm trying to be silly here. It's a virus. It's a virus.
I did say, is this a real thing?
Dude, honestly, I was so worried about looking like a dickhead. I was like, I think he's joking with me, but I'm not 1,000%.
I wanted you to laugh at me, and then I was gonna say that it was shaped like little gay people or something. But you did.
It's just a bunch of little Harvey Firesteins running around in the microscope.
I mean,
but yeah, it was a scary thing as a kid.
Before it was HIV, it was GRID. Woody, are you old enough to remember GRID? Was that a thing?
GRID.
No, I don't know.
It was when it was very first discovered. It was discovered exclusively in gay communities, and for the first 3 or 4 years of its existence, they called it gay-related immunodeficiency.
Oh,
and they genuinely thought that there was something about being gay that caused people to become immunodeficient, and it took a while for HIV as we know it to become the name.
Yeah, for them to realize it's just the mechanics of what they're doing that makes it much more likely, not like gay people have a gene.
Taylor, I don't know that that's true. I think if that were true, then they wouldn't let gay people give blood. I can't even keep the same thing.
It's because they don't sometimes. I get that
one. It's weird to me that gay people still can't give blood.
It's weird. What, Woody?
Gay people can't give blood. Like, that's a thing.
They fixed that, Woody. Your lefty buddies. They
they didn't. You can't get blood if you're gay. That's just a thing. And I'm like,
really?
Is there just like a really homophobic guy at the door? Like, I
ask you.
There's a questionnaire. Like, have you been to Africa in the last 3 months? Have you had sex with someone for money in the last couple months? Have you had a tattoo?
Jesus.
Are you gay? This is in the questionnaire.
Yeah,
I don't think is the gay one really still a thing?
I thought they let the gays give blood now. That's the only. I thought that was a recent thing.
I'm sure that they don't.
Yeah, so basically they just exclude people who are more likely to have that. Is that it?
So that might have been true in '92. I doubt it's true now.
Maybe I'm remembering the question correctly, because Zach here says that if you haven't had gay sex in the last 3 months, they let you do it.
Yeah, take a little break.
Weirdly specific.
Yeah,
no, it's not. You
Well,
Yeah,
you're in the
you have
middle
any
of a
problem.
dry spell. You're trying to feel good about yourself. You want to do something to help the world. You go get some blood.
You want to slim down? Maybe it's been 3 months, dude. You need to slim down a little. How about a pint of blood? You know what that weighs? Fucking 2 pounds, bro.
Yeah. And how many calories does it take to replenish that blood? That's something you're not considering. I bet
Tremendous.
some.
You're gonna have that gaunt, faint look after you give this blood. It's gonna be a good look for you.
I'm going to start giving blood. Well, 3 months, you said?
Dude, I pass out every fucking time.
Taylor, that was a good joke. It went unnoticed, but I like it.